As our tour bus winds through the lively streets of São Paulo, I look out at my very first view of Brazil. It's hard to believe this sprawling city began as a small Jesuit mission in the 1500s. Today, it feels like a giant mosaic of cultures, colors, and history, the perfect place to start my 19-day Go-Go Tours adventure. From here, I'll explore 4 incredible countries in 19 days. As São Paulo rushes by my window, I feel the excitement growing. This is just the beginning. A whole continent of history, culture, and adventure awaits. In the heart of São Paulo, rising above the landscaped grounds of Independence Park, stands one of Brazil's most iconic cultural landmarks, the Paulista Museum, also known as Museu do Ipiranga. Its construction began in 1885 and was completed by 1890, designed by Italian architect Tommaso Gaudenzio Bezzi as a monumental tribute to Brazil's independence. 5 years later, in 1895, it opened to the public, symbolically inaugurated on September 7th, Brazil's Independence Day. The museum's exterior is striking. Its grand facade, painted in warm ochre and golden tones, evokes the elegance of European palaces from the late 19th century. Tall arched windows, ornamental columns, and sculpted details catch the sunlight, making the building glow like a historic beacon above the surrounding gardens. The structure blends classical symmetry with Brazilian character, giving it an unmistakable presence on the São Paulo skyline. Step into the story of a nation at the monument to the independence of Brazil, nestled in the beautiful Ipiranga Park. This iconic landmark celebrates the historic moment on the 7th of September 1822, when Brazil declared its independence. At the heart of the monument burns the eternal flame. A powerful symbol of freedom, reminds visitors of the courage and vision that built Brazil. Brazil gets its name from the pau-brasil tree, a medium-sized tree with yellow flowers and reddish wood. Today, this iconic tree remains a symbol of the country's history and natural wealth. Rising proudly at the entrance of Guanabara Bay, Sugarloaf Mountain, or Pão de Açúcar, is one of Rio de Janeiro's most iconic natural landmarks. Located in the neighborhood of Urca, it sits just a short distance from the famous Copacabana beach, only about 6 kilometers. The second stage is where the magic deepens. The cable car launches again, this time climbing steeply toward the granite peak of Sugarloaf Mountain itself. Suspended high above the bay, the cabin feels like it's floating through open sky. Below, the cliffs plunge straight into the ocean, and the cityscape sprawls outward from Botafogo's crescent-shaped bay to the silhouette of Christ the Redeemer standing tall on the opposite ridge. Airplanes glide almost at eye level as they descend toward Santos Dumont Airport, while the Atlantic Ocean stretches endlessly toward the horizon. As the car nears the summit, the panorama becomes a sweeping tapestry: mountains, beaches, islands, and the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro merging into one unforgettable view. Each stage of the ride offers its own story. High above Rio de Janeiro, where the ocean meets the mountains, one sight rises above it all: Christ the Redeemer, the symbol of Brazil, the heartbeat of Rio. Designed by Heitor da Silva Costa, sculpted by Paul Landowski, and completed in 1931. Inside, it's powered by a strong core of reinforced concrete, and on the outside, it gleams with thousands of hand-placed soapstone tiles. And the best part? You can stand right at its feet. Ride the scenic train up Mount Corcovado, step into the warm Brazilian sunshine, and take in a 360-degree view like no other: the beaches of Copacabana, the green expanse of Tijuca Forest, and the city's iconic skyline stretching to the horizon. Tucked between the neighborhoods of Lapa and Santa Teresa lies one of Rio's most colorful landmarks, the Celarón Steps, a vibrant staircase transformed by the imagination of Jorge Celarón, an artist originally from Valparaíso, Chile. When Celarón arrived in Rio in the 1980s, the staircase was worn and neglected. With no funding, he began restoring it using bits of broken tiles and discarded ceramics. What began as a small personal gesture grew into his life's purpose. Over the next 2 decades, he transformed all 215 steps into a glowing mosaic of over 2,000 tiles from more than 60 countries. Celarón favored bright reds and yellows, colors he felt expressed the warmth, humor, and energy of Brazil, the country he adopted as his home. As the steps gained recognition, travelers from around the world mailed him tiles, each one becoming part of this ever-evolving public artwork. Many tiles carry deeper meaning. You'll notice images of samba dancers, Brazilian landscapes, and soccer icons, along with pieces depicting animals, flags, and folk symbols from dozens of cultures. One of Celarón's most intriguing signatures is the recurring image of a pregnant woman, a figure he said represented a complicated chapter of his past, a story he claimed he would never explain. Celarón continued adding to the staircase until his death in 2013, calling it his tribute to the Brazilian people.
Si solo me das una noche pa' mostrarte lo que te quiero dar, es todo lo que él no te dio. Él no te supo valorar y te hizo llorar, pues yo no soy aquel, un bobo infiel. Solo quiero verte sonreír, déjame amarte hasta el fin. Es que eres tan bella, no debes sufrir. Él fue la lluvia y yo el sol, el arco iris es nuestro amor. Si solo me dejas, yo te haré feliz. Olvídate, olvídate del pasado, yo te cambio el futuro.
Right in the heart of downtown Rio de Janeiro, the Metropolitan Cathedral of Saint Sebastian rises like a futuristic spacecraft. Designed by Edgar de Oliveira da Fonseca and built between 1964 and 1979, its bold, cone-shaped silhouette towers above the streets, concrete walls gleaming in the sunlight. From afar, it feels both part of the city and set apart, a modern beacon of faith. Stepping inside, the cathedral's vast circular interior immediately surrounds you. 4 towering stained glass windows, each 64 meters tall, stretch from floor to ceiling, bathing the space in shifting hues of green, blue, red, and yellow. Standing here at the National Monument to the Dead of World War II in Rio de Janeiro, you're surrounded by one of Brazil's most important tributes to the soldiers who served overseas. The monument's 2 towering concrete arches, rising 31 meters into the sky. Many visitors are surprised to learn that Brazil did fight in World War II. After German submarines attacked Brazilian ships in 1942, Brazil joined the Allies and sent the Brazilian Expeditionary Force to Europe. Beneath the monument's towering arches lies a solemn subterranean mausoleum, the final resting place for 468 Brazilian soldiers who died in World War II fighting in Italy. Originally interred in a wartime cemetery abroad, their remains were respectfully repatriated to Brazil in 1960 and placed in urns within this crypt. Above the crypt, the museum brings the human side of war vividly to life. Display cases hold the uniforms worn by the soldiers, the weapons they carried, and the personal objects that made a foreign battlefield a little more familiar. Handwritten letters to loved ones, photographs capturing fleeting moments of camaraderie, pocket cigarettes, and even personal trinkets like combs or dog tags. Each item tells a story of everyday life during extraordinary circumstances. These objects remind visitors that behind the statistics were young men with hopes, fears, and connections to home. Among the landscaped areas, there is a striking natural feature: two mature trees that appear to be intertwined, their trunks growing closely together as if embracing one another, a symbol of connection and unity. So here we are on the Brazil side of Iguazu Falls, the side with the big views. The falls sit right on the border between Brazil and Argentina. And from this side, you basically get the whole panorama laid out in front of you. It's like stepping into a giant natural amphitheater made of water, mist, and jungle. The trail starts off pretty relaxed. You're walking along the edge of the forest, the sound of the falls rumbling somewhere out there. Then, suddenly, through the trees, you see your first overlook. And it's huge. From here, you can actually see dozens of the 275 waterfalls all at once, stretching across the river. There's mist rising everywhere, rainbows flashing in and out of the sunlight, and the Argentine side looking wild and dramatic across the gorge. As you continue down the trail, the views keep getting better. Each platform gets you a little closer, and the falls just keep multiplying. Santa Maria Falls, Floriano Falls, and all these smaller drops that pour into the river with different patterns and rhythms. You're basically walking along a cliff with non-stop wide-angle views the whole way. And don't be surprised if a few coatis wander by like they own the place. Butterflies follow you, and every once in a while, a burst of mist hits you just right to cool things off. But the real moment, the one everyone talks about, is at the end of the trail. There's a walkway that juts straight out over the river, and you can literally stand inside the spray of the falls. Water is crashing below you, Mist is blasting straight into your face, and up ahead is the massive, thundering Devil's Throat. It feels like nature is putting on a show just for you, and you're standing in the front row. That's when I realize I have to retreat. Today, we explore the Argentine side, where the power of water and the beauty of the jungle come together in breathtaking harmony. Here, wooden walkways guide visitors through the lush rainforest, where vibrant birds flit between trees and curious coatis roam freely. The air is alive with the sounds of wildlife, creating a sense of wonder at every step. At the heart of the park lies the Garganta del Diablo, or Devil's Throat. This U-shaped chasm stretches 82 meters high, 150 meters wide, and 700 meters long. From the observation deck, you can witness millions of liters of water crashing down every second. The spray hits like a sudden storm. People laugh, shield their faces, and rush to protect their cameras. But there's no escaping it. Another strong gust turns the mist into a full downpour, and that's when I know I have to retreat. This is the true Iguazu experience. Raw, powerful, unforgettable. My wife and I took the front row of the jet boat. Big mistake or best decision ever, I'm still not sure. The moment we sat down, we could feel the engine rumbling under us, like the boat was alive. We tightened our life jackets, stuffed our things into the waterproof bag, and looked at each other with that "we're definitely getting soaked" kind of smile. As soon as the boat pulled away from the dock, the river looked calm, but only for a second. The driver hit the throttle, and from the front row it felt like we were launching straight across the water. Spray hit us immediately, warm and constant, and we both burst out laughing. The jungle on both sides blurred past, and the roar of the falls grew louder with every second. Then we rounded the bend, and suddenly the entire wall of Iguazu Falls was right in front of us. From the front row, it looked like the water was falling from the sky itself. My wife squeezed my arm, and all I could think was, "Okay, here it comes." The boat kept pushing forward, bouncing through the waves, and the mist started hitting us like sheets of rain. The guide pointed straight ahead, probably telling us to hold on, but from where we were sitting, all we could hear was the thunder of the falls. Then, without warning, the driver aimed the boat straight into the spray. Instant chaos. Water slammed over us so hard I couldn't see anything, not my wife next to me, not the boat, nothing. It felt like standing under a waterfall with a fire hose blasting your face. We were yelling, laughing, choking on mist, gripping the bar with both hands while the boat rocked under the force of the falls.
所以呢，1807年之后，整个南美洲都在1810年之后，不是独立，就是脱离了西班牙的殖民统治。OK， 原因是因为很简单，如果不脱离，只有一个下场。
Welcome to the heart of Buenos Aires, where history, politics, and culture come together. Our first stop is the Buenos Aires Metropolitan Cathedral, the city's most important Catholic church. Step into the Buenos Aires Metropolitan Cathedral and feel the cool, quiet grandeur of its sacred space, and soaring columns that guide your gaze upward to the elegantly vaulted ceilings. The 18th century high altar dominates the center, its polished wood and gilded details radiating a sense of reverence and history, filling the space with a golden shimmer and a hushed, contemplative atmosphere. Every detail, the textures of stone, the glow of light, the richness of the carvings, invites visitors to experience both the artistic beauty and the profound spiritual atmosphere of this iconic Buenos Aires landmark. Just steps away, facing the Plaza de Mayo, stands the iconic Casa Rosada, often called the Pink House. The current structure was completed in 1898, blending Italianate and French architectural styles. This is the seat of the executive branch of Argentina's government, famous for its balcony, where leaders, including Eva Perón, delivered speeches that shaped the nation. Its pink color is said to symbolize political unity. Standing proudly in front of the iconic Casa Rosada, the bronze equestrian statue honors General Manuel Belgrano, one of Argentina's most revered heroes and the creator of the national flag. Visitors pause here, reflecting on Argentina's history and the ideals Belgrano championed. At the base of General Manuel Belgrano's statue, you'll notice a collection of small stones. These were placed by people as a public memorial, especially during the pandemic, honoring lost loved ones. The stones transform the monument into a living symbol of remembrance, grief, and collective memory. In the heart of Buenos Aires, right along the expanse of Avenida 9 de Julio, rises the Teatro Colón, a grand opera palace set against the pulse of the city. From afar, its stone facade stands out like a European masterpiece transported straight into Argentina's capital. The exterior is a blend of Italian Renaissance, French Baroque, and classical elegance, towering columns, sculpted figures, sweeping stairways, and long rows of arched windows that glow softly in the sunlight. Even before you step inside, the building feels majestic. Completed in 1908, after years of ambition and craftsmanship, its acoustics are ranked among the top 3 in the world, so precise and resonant that performers say they can hear their own heartbeat on stage. In this theater, the architecture isn't just beautiful. It functions like a perfectly tuned instrument. Inside, the golden balconies, velvet seats, and painted dome create a sense of ceremony. But it's the sound, warm, powerful, and impossibly clear, that makes every performance unforgettable.
個球隊球衣嘅顏色就係呢個藍色同黃色啊。點解咧？因為佢哋除咗好耐，咁我哋喺正呢個碼頭啊，咁啊講就係第二日喺碼頭入嚟嘅第一艘第一部呢個國際嘅船啊，咁我哋就用嗰個國家嘅旗嚟做呢個球衣嘅顏色。結果第一個嚟嘅嗰個就係瑞典瑞典嘅瑞典嘅船，咁所以佢哋又用咗呢一隻顏色一直就保留到而家。今天下午有比赛，还好早上来，下午呢进不来了。为什么呢？因为这个是一个很穷的球队，现在不穷了，以前很穷，所以他没有 parking，他没有 parking space， 所以说呢，只要一有比赛，这边的 street 全部都要被封锁掉 ，block， 不让你开车进来。你说这里有这里有 parking 这个是给足球明星的停的用的不是给民众踢的，因为他球队很穷没有买地盖这个所谓的停车场 parking， 所以呢只要有比赛就跟抗议一样，全部的栏杆围板全部围起来了。OK， 这个呢刚刚讲了糖果河，叫做糖果河，可以容纳53000多人，算一个中小型的球场。阿根廷最大的球场可以容纳11万人，然后最大的球场呢，南美洲最大的球场在马拉卡纳在巴西。
North of Buenos Aires, the Tigre Delta unfolds as a vast network of shimmering rivers and islands, an entirely water-based world shaped by the slow, steady flow of the Paraná River. Its name, Tigre, comes from early settlers who believed jaguars roaming the area were tigers, leaving traces along the riverbanks during the region's wild, untamed past. Today, thousands of Aleños live here in wooden homes raised on stilts, surrounded by dense vegetation and peaceful canals. The community is diverse, long-established families, weekend homeowners, and newcomers seeking a quieter life. This is not a poor district, but a mixed-income region, where humble cottages stand beside stylish retreats and eco-lodges. With no roads, every journey is made by boat, private skiffs, water taxis, or the traditional lancha colectiva, the Delta's public river bus. In the heart of Buenos Aires stands El Ateneo Gran Splendid, a place where literature and legacy meet under painted ceilings and ornate balconies. Originally opened as Teatro Gran Splendid in 1919, the building was once a glittering stage for opera, ballet, and tango, and later a cinema that introduced the city to its first talkies. Step inside today, and the old auditorium has been transformed. Rows of seats have given way to shelves crammed with books, over 100,000 of them rising to the ornate balconies and mezzanines. Above, a dome painted by Italian artist Nazareno Orlandi glows with frescoes, carved caryatids, elegant moldings, and classic theater boxes bring the grandeur of the past into every corner. What was once a stage for performers is now a cozy cafe. Crimson curtains still frame the scene as readers sip coffee and browse. The balconies serve as reading nooks, their old theatrical charm lending quiet drama to each visit. Recoleta Cemetery, founded in 1822, is one of Argentina's oldest and most revered burial grounds, born from the former orchards of a Recoletos monastery. What began as a simple parish cemetery soon transformed into a monumental necropolis as Buenos Aires grew in power and prosperity. By the late 19th century, during the nation's golden age, Argentina's most influential families chose Recoleta as their eternal home, shaping it into a masterpiece of architecture, art, and national identity. Within its narrow corridors rises the tomb of Eva Perón, one of the most visited sites in the cemetery. After her death in 1952, political turmoil kept her body hidden for nearly 2 decades before it was finally returned to her family's vault. Today, her resting place stands as a symbol of resilience and Argentina's enduring devotion to one of its most transformative figures. Nearby stands the mausoleum of President Domingo Faustino Sarmiento, crowned with a sculpted condor watching over the city he helped modernize. Inside these grand mausoleums, families traditionally bury full bodies in above-ground coffins, not cremated remains. Each vault is built like a small family chapel, with shelves that hold generations of ancestors. Many contain subterranean crypts, where older coffins are carefully placed as new family members join the lineage. Recoleta's identity is rooted in the tradition of full-body entombment. San Telmo, one of Buenos Aires' oldest neighborhoods, is a living museum of history and culture. Founded in the late 16th century, its cobblestone streets and colonial buildings tell stories that span more than 4 centuries, stories of settlers, immigrants, and the city's evolving identity. Casa Minima, the narrowest house in Buenos Aires, was built around 1890 and measures just 2.5 meters wide. Tucked between 2 larger buildings at Defensa 1651, San Telmo, it stands as a unique relic of the city's colonial past, a tiny home that tells a big story of urban life in the 19th century. San Telmo is home to the Paseo de la Historieta, comic strip walk, an outdoor art trail featuring life-size sculptures of iconic Argentine comic characters. The most famous of these is Mafalda. A young girl known for her social commentary is on a bench with her friends Susanita and Manolito at the corner of Defensa and Chile streets. Mercado de San Telmo, built in 1897 at Defensa 963, stands as a remarkable witness to Buenos Aires' 19th century growth, reflecting the city's architectural style and early urban life. It is a cultural hub, preserving the traditions of San Telmo through food, crafts, and live music. The market plays a vital social and economic role, supporting artisans, vendors, and community gatherings. As one of the neighborhood's most iconic landmarks, it embodies San Telmo's identity, a historic space where the past continues to live vibrantly in every corner. Constitución Railway Station, inaugurated in 1907, is one of Buenos Aires' most iconic transport hubs, blending utility and grandeur in early 20th century architecture. Its neoclassical facade features elegant columns. The vast iron and glass train shed stretches over multiple platforms, letting natural light cascade across polished floors, while riveted steel beams and soaring ceilings showcase the industrial elegance of the era. De Santiago, crowning Cerro San Cristobal and offering one of the most breathtaking views in Chile's capital. The journey begins aboard the funicular train, slowly climbing the hillside as the city unfolds below red rooftops, distant Andes, and the steady hush of altitude. At the summit stands the towering statue of the Virgin Mary, arms open over Santiago, a place of reflection as much as panorama. In 1987, Pope John Paul II visited this very spot, praying here and blessing the city below, sealing the hill's role as both a spiritual and cultural landmark. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, rises from the southeastern Pacific like a jewel of history and mystery. A remote volcanic island spanning just 163 square kilometers, it is home to roughly 7,000 people, the proud descendants of the Polynesian Rapa Nui, whose culture and traditions continue to shape every corner of the island. Its landscape is both dramatic and serene. Here, the Moai monolithic statues carved centuries ago stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that flourished long before European explorers arrived in 1722. The island's history is woven into every stone. Ahua Kiwi is located about a 10-minute drive northeast of Mataveri International Airport, set deep within the open interior of Easter Island. Ahua Kiwi stands at the center of Easter Island, a line of 7 moai rising from open plains, perfectly aligned and gazing toward the ocean. Unlike nearly every other moai on Rapa Nui, which face inland to watch over their villages, these 7 turn outward. Their orientation carries deep ancestral meaning. According to Rapa Nui tradition, the moai of Ahua Kiwi represent the 7 explorers sent ahead to discover the island. Facing the sea, they look toward the direction from which their king would one day arrive, honoring the navigators who first crossed the vast Pacific to reach these shores. Their alignment is also a triumph of ancient astronomy. The platform is positioned with extraordinary precision to mark the equinox's sunrise and sunset, falling in perfect harmony along their axis. Rano Kau rises at the southwestern edge of Easter Island like a monumental crown of volcanic stone. Its scale is extraordinary, a vast crater nearly 1.6 kilometers wide and more than 200 meters deep, formed by a volcano that last erupted roughly 200,000 to 300,000 years ago. Today, it stands completely dormant, shaped only by wind, rain, and time. From the rim, the view opens into a breathtaking circular world, a crater lake shimmering with emerald and turquoise reflections, fringed with dense totora reeds and floating aquatic plants. Within this secluded freshwater environment, small invertebrates and microorganisms thrive, while birds occasionally visit its calm waters, completing an ecosystem found nowhere else on the island. The steep inner walls, carved from ancient lava flows, cradle this miniature world, sheltering it from the harsh coastal winds and creating a quiet sanctuary for life. From above, the crater feels both immense and intimate, a natural amphitheater of earth, water, and vegetation.
Don't appear, appear, pray, don't look inside. Me, a name, I call myself.
Hanaviahu is a cultural sanctuary dedicated to preserving and celebrating the heritage of the Rapa Nui people. At the heart of the site are the ceremonial stone structures, carefully restored and arranged to reflect the spiritual and communal practices of the island. These stones once marked sacred spaces for ritual, gathering, and ancestral homage, and today they provide visitors with a tangible connection to centuries of tradition. Surrounding the plaza, hut-like houses, inspired by traditional Rapa Nui dwellings, serve as interactive learning spaces. Here, guests can witness artisans at work, explore the techniques of ancestral construction, and understand the relationship between architecture, environment, and culture. Winding sacred stone pathways lead from one feature to another, guiding visitors through spaces designed for reflection, storytelling, and hands-on engagement. The outdoor learning terraces extend this experience, offering workshops in music, dance, and traditional crafts.
嗱，大家睇到上面有唔同嘅輪廓，佢哋需要用呢種石係咁作嘅大嘅輪廓出嚟，有頭有身，頭同身係連埋一齊嘅。咁佢哋作出嚟之後，就係睇到你哋全部咪埋咗一半嘅。係。佢哋首先係挖一個窿， 挖一個窿，挖呢個窿有咩作用咧？兩個作用，一個咧係直接喺鑿落嚟之後，佢就咁沿住個山體射落嚟。你如果先挖一個窿，佢咪固定到咯。佢線落嚟嘅話，如果你冇挖個窿，唔知碌到喺邊度。咁仲有另外一個作用咧，佢挖咗個窿之後，佢就埋住佢。咁佢哋再雕刻個鼻啊、個眼啊，佢咪夠高咯。因為呢一個島，佢冇以前冇嗰啲話咩梯啊，冇嗰啲，佢起唔到咁高嘅。咁所以就係話佢挖好之後，佢咪埋住一半，佢人咪可以刻佢個眼嘅輪廓、鼻嘅輪廓。所以就係咁樣慢慢畫。但係呢一啲咧，就佢係未完工啊。所以佢咪未將佢畫翻出嚟咯，所以全部呢個位係埋住一半嘅。但係點解呢一度你見到最多，見到係最多，因為呢度係工廠嚟嘅，同埋呢附近你見到好多冧低咗嘅，呢度係周邊係最多係瞓低咗嘅。點解咧？因為佢質量唔好啊嘛啲，佢要運去喺呢個地方運去島嘅唔同位置，咁就造成咗就係話佢質量唔好嘅，係早就冧咗啦嘛。
放唔到出師。
一旦冧咗。或者係斷開咗，佢哋就認為就係話冇呢個神靈保佑啊。冧咗嘅話，佢哋再扶翻起身啊，講明就係話唔好啊，所以佢哋就需要就係話重新再起，重新再作啊，全部呢啲都係喺呢度作出嚟嘅。所以就係話點解呢度最多，同埋呢邊附近嘅，包括我哋等下會見到15個石像嗰個最大嘅都係喺晒呢一度，因為就係最近啊嘛。我哋就喺呢度遊覽完之後，嗰15個我哋要再坐車過去嘅。等你喺呢度望遠啲望到嗰15個。啊，但係我哋唔會行過去啊，我哋坐車過去。咁呢一度行，大家要注意啦。你見到有啲好高嘅，我哋所有人呢度係好嚴格嘅規定，全部人一個 team， 全部一個 group 行成一齊，唔可以自己行，一定要 stay on the path 啊，即係唔可以行出去，唔可以踩出邊嗰啲草。
Welcome to Rano Raraku, the volcanic quarry that gave life to the legendary Moai statues of Easter Island. This volcanic crater, carved from soft, tough stone, served as the birthplace of nearly all the island's colossal figures. Here, the Rapa Nui people extracted the stone that would become their ancestral guardians, carefully shaping each Moai before it was transported to its final resting place. At Rano Raraku, the quarry itself is a museum of unfinished art. Some statues stand fully formed yet unraised, while others lie partially carved from the rock, revealing the intricate techniques of their creators. It is from this volcanic tuff that the Moai emerged lightweight enough to carve, yet durable enough to endure centuries of wind and rain. But the quarry produced more than just statues. Tools and fragments of discarded rock tell the story of a vibrant sculpting culture. Carving platforms, unfinished heads, and broken moai scattered across the slopes offer clues about the Rapa Nui's craftsmanship, trial and error, and the immense labor involved. Each block of stone carried the potential to become a sacred figure, a bridge between the living community and their ancestors. Rano Raraku also speaks to the organization and ambition of the Rapa Nui civilization. Transporting these massive statues across rugged terrain required planning, cooperation, and ingenuity. The quarry is not only a source of stone, it is a testament to human creativity, resilience, and spirituality. Standing among these towering figures, both finished and unfinished, one can feel the weight of history. The moai of Rano Raraku are more than stone. They are the enduring symbols of a culture that, despite isolation and environmental challenges, left an indelible mark on the world. On the eastern edge of Rapa Nui, where the Pacific crashes against black volcanic rock, 15 giants rise from the earth. These are the moai of Ahu Tongariki, solemn, towering guardians carved by the ancestors. And like all moai on the island, they stand with their backs to the ocean, their faces turned inward toward the land. To the Rapa Nui people, this direction was never accidental. The ocean was a giver of life and a pathway for their voyaging ancestors. But the land where their families lived, where their crops grew, where their struggles and triumphs unfolded, that was what needed protection. So the moai faced the island, watching over the villages that once thrived behind them. Each statue is more than stone. It carries mana, the ancestral power believed to safeguard the living. By looking inland, the Moai project that protective force across the people, the fields, and the sacred spaces of the island. Their gaze is a blessing, a promise from the ancestors that they will forever watch over their descendants. Through centuries of storms, earthquakes, and time itself, these 15 giants have returned to their place atop Tongariki. Restored, resilient, and unyielding, they continue their ancient vigil. With their backs to the boundless sea and their faces to the heart of Rapa Nui, they remain guardians of memory, spirit, and land. Here at Tongariki, the Moai do what they have always done. They stand, watch, they protect, and they remind all who see them that the past is never truly gone. It stands, carved in stone, looking over the island it once called home.
Hello，今日係星期四，有啲仲一個星期翻長途噶啦，係 one of my bucket list。15個人仔 official postcard photo of this。And you note the second one, that's not a hat on top of him. It's his hairstyle. Note that.
Valparaiso isn't a city you simply visit, it's a city you climb. Rising from the edge of the Pacific, its steep hills are stitched together by staircases, winding streets, and the creaking charm of historic funiculars. Each ascent reveals a new layer of color, creativity, and life. Once you reach the top of the hill, the city opens up before you. Below, a maze of brightly painted houses clings to the slopes, stacked like a living mosaic above the port. Tin roofs catch the light, murals splash across walls, and narrow cobblestone paths feel like open-air art galleries. Quiet lookouts offer sweeping views where the Pacific stretches endlessly into the horizon. Nearby, cafes spill onto terraces, local music floats through the air, and laundry sways gently between balconies in the sea breeze.
Oh, cactus fruits, right? Yes, it's a fruit. It's a fruit. Yeah, it's tasty. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We are in Chile right now, eating on a Saturday, eating lunch at this magnificent restaurant.
Perched on a cliff overlooking the sparkling Pacific, Castillo del Mar is one of Viña del Mar's most iconic coastal landmarks. Built in 1912 in a neo-Tudor, castle-inspired style, it was originally commissioned by Gustavo Ross Santamaria, a wealthy businessman and politician, as a grand seaside residence modeled after Scottish family homes. The stone walls, turrets, and grand arches evoke old-world elegance, while the large panoramic windows frame breathtaking views of the ocean. Imagine standing on the terrace at sunset, the waves crashing below, and the golden light spilling across the city. It's a view that has enchanted visitors for over a century. Over the decades, the property changed hands, with notable ownership by textile magnate Luis Guevara Nelson, who lived here until 1967. Like many historic coastal estates in Viña del Mar, Castillo del Mar passed through private ownership before opening its doors to the public. Today, it operates as a restaurant and event venue, offering fine seafood and Mediterranean-inspired cuisine, alongside facilities for weddings, banquets, and special celebrations. Walking through its halls and terraces, you feel the blend of history, romance, and the sea breeze, a perfect marriage of past and present. But this castle's story is unique. From a private mansion to a beloved venue where locals and visitors alike can enjoy a historic castle atmosphere with one of Chile's most stunning ocean views. I step into the high Andes town of Chinchero, and immediately I feel the pulse of tradition. The Parwa Cultural Center is alive with color, texture, and movement. This isn't just a museum, it's a community. I learned that 35 local families take turns here, sharing their craft, caring for the animals, and welcoming visitors like me into their world. As I walk through the center, I see women spinning wool, men shearing alpacas, and everyone working together to keep centuries-old weaving techniques alive. I crouch beside a soft alpaca, its fleece warm under my hands. Llamas wander calmly nearby, their curious eyes watching me as I step closer. It feels alive, real. I watch the wool being washed with sakta, a natural root that replaces soap, and then dyed with vibrant colors from plants, flowers, and even insects. Deep reds, Bright yellows, rich blues, every hue tells a story of the mountains and the people who live here. At the backstrap looms, I see intricate patterns come to life. Each scarf, each blanket, each poncho carries symbols and stories that have been passed down for generations. I try to imagine the patience it takes, and yet it feels effortless for these artisans, their hands moving as naturally as breathing. I wander through the workshop, touch the soft alpaca fibers, and feel connected to the families and the land. Finally, I step into the shop. I know that every piece I see here isn't just a souvenir. Buying one directly supports these families, their tradition, and their future. Leaving Parwa, I carry more than a scarf or a blanket. I carry the Andes in my heart, its colors, its heritage, and the living rhythm of a community that has kept its culture alive for centuries.
In this what we work is in 4 different material: vicuna, alpaca, sheep, and baby alpaca. Vicuna is the best quality animal in Peru. The wool is considered like a gold of the Andes because the fiber is much better of cashmere, of alpaca, of baby alpaca. You touch, you can feel it's very soft. You touch. It's a alpaca. Vicuna fiber. You touch. When you buy any garments in vicuna, you need necessary a special certificate for the pass another country because the Peruvian nationality is a protected animal. All this is a baby alpaca. Baby alpaca is only a first share of alpaca. The second share is adult alpaca. Sheep is other animal. All this color is natural color in baby alpaca. Not necessary dyeing process because we have gray alpaca, brown alpaca, black alpaca, coffee alpaca. No have red, yellow, blue is dyeing process. You touch, you can feel it's very soft. When sheared, the wool is very dirty and greasy. You can see the fiber. For washing in here, we use this natural root. This root is like a yucca, but it's not yucca. This root we get is from far away. We walk 3 or 4 hours to get the root. We use the stone for the carving. You can see this root is good to prevent the gray or white hair. Do you have the gray or white hair?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you want to use this root?
Yes. You turn black. You're too late. Turn black.
I filtered in this basket. You can see? Look the sediment. You can see? This is the natural foams.
Wow.
When you wash, doesn't produce a more pollution. Also protecting our hands. Look the dirty wool. You can see the dirty sheep wool. This is sheep. You can see it's very dirty and greasy. Look the water. You can see it's chocolate because the llamas, alpacas, and sheep, they never take a shower. Look the difference. You can see the difference before and after. Then we let the dry is in the shades and not in the sun to avoid the change of the natural colors. Then we can spinning is in this tool. This tool called is pushka. We calculate the thread for blanket sweater. When this break, you can see per yawing is easy. You can see the thread?
Wow.
When we can spinning is only one side, right side or left side, only one direction. When we have this size, we put it in this part. You can see? in this part, approximately 50 grams. When we have 50 grams in this part, it's ready for the dyeing process. For the natural dyeing process, we use is the different plants from different places. For example, look the leaf. You can see the leaf called Inca. We use it to get a different green color. Native flower, we use it to get the yellow color. This flower is good for skins. Andean fir called is a cacasunca. Cacasunca, we use it to get the brown color. This is the most growing in the rock like a fir. It's a lichens. Quinsacuchu is a medicinal plant. We use it to get the blue color and medicinal plant for rheumatism or bones pains. The purple corn, we use it to get the purple color. And we use it for the chicha morada. Chicha morada is the traditional drink. Have you tried?
Yes.
It's very famous in Cusco. The most important is the famous insect. The insect is a parasite or fungus. This parasite is growing on the cactus. This cactus is growing only Sacred Valley, not here, because here is at 3,750 highest. Sacred Valley is very warm. Look the insect. You can see I take the beetles. This beetle is alive. I had 1 beetle, 2 beetles, and 3 beetles. You can see the beetles? You can see? Visit. Are you ready? Oh, no. Look the color. This is the natural first color. This is a pigment. You can see no blob because the blob no change the color. Or other colors. I am going to put the alum. You can see the cochineal, which alum is lilac color.
Wow.
Please have a seat. I will the passport for the seat. No problem. For other color, alum. You can see each other color. For other color, I am going to put the lemon juice. You can see the cochineal, which lemon is orange. Are you ready for take picture? I will the pass. You can see natural color, lemon, alum, natural lipstick. I like this color. This natural lipstick is a 24-hour resist the kiss and kiss proof. The cochineal believed to dry is in the sun. You can see the dry beetle. Then we grind it in the natural stone mortar to get the powder. Are you ready for take picture? In this pot we have is only a hot water. You can see the water is very hot. Another pot is a eucalyptus boiling approximately 1 hour. Another pot is a quinsacuchu to get the blue color. Next pot boiling is a native flower to get the yellow color. Another pot, a purple corn. Final pot is an Andean bear. Are you ready for take picture?
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Look the color, yeah? Look the color. You can see? The color is immediately because it's organic fiber. When the material is synthetic or plastic, no dyeing process. For other color, I am going to put is the salt. The salt we use is for change and fix the color. She is going to put is the sulfur. One question, what color do you think is going to be in this pot and this? Is the surprise. Are you ready? Look the color. Orange, dark green. The nice color depends how long time you keep into the boiling water. This color is forever, never lose the color. Because for to fix the color we use is the salt, the lime, alum, sulfur, and volcanic stones. Dyeing process is only for organic fiber, no synthetics, no plastic.
We started our day early in the Sacred Valley, the crisp Andean air brushing our faces as our tour bus wound its way through the terraced hills. Our local guide greeted us with a warm smile and began sharing stories of the valley's history, pointing out ancient ruins that clung to the mountainsides and hidden Incan agricultural terraces that seemed to defy gravity. Every corner revealed a new panorama: small villages with red-tiled roofs, llamas grazing on steep slopes, and farmers tending crops the same way their ancestors had for centuries. Our guide explained how the Incas ingeniously managed water and soil in these high-altitude valleys, making them fertile against all odds. As we drove, I found myself mesmerized by the play of sunlight across the mountains. It wasn't just a ride, it was a journey through history, a prelude to the adventure that awaited at Machu Picchu.
Here more than 3,000 years ago. The Incas arrived, conquered the pre-Incas, destroyed partially this town, and they built something else on top. Then the Spaniards arrived and built something else on top. That's something that happened. You can see water canals that the Incas used to have to provide water to the whole city. Those are Inca original. Look at the Inca walls to your right. Beautiful Inca walls. There are traditionally Inca street. In a minute, you will see to the right of the car of the bus a beautiful Inca street. Beautiful. Probably one of the most beautiful Inca streets that we have in the whole Sacred Valley. It's very, very nice. Prepare your cameras to your right.
Oh, okay.
Hurry up.
That's Inca Wall.
That's an Inca street, an Inca wall. Okay, as I mentioned, if you are planning to leave something here, don't forget that whatever you are going to leave here, you are going to see that stuff tonight at 8:30. Okay? Means that if you bought some chocolate, you don't need to transport that chocolate the whole day. Just leave it here, and it's completely safe. Okay? Another reason why this town is very popular is because this town is it works as a kind of base camp for the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Maybe you heard about that. There is a trail that connects this Sacred Valley with Machu Picchu. Yeah, this is the base camp.
The bus pulled into Ollantaytambo train station, a charming blend of old-world Indian architecture and modern travel conveniences. The station itself was small but bustling, with vendors selling snacks and souvenirs, and travelers checking tickets and boarding passes under the watchful eye of the station staff. Our guide explained that this station is one of the main departure points for trains heading to Aguascalientes, the gateway town to Machu Picchu. We learned that the train system here is carefully coordinated. Several companies operate daily services ranging from standard scenic trains to luxury carriages, all designed to navigate the narrow, winding tracks carved through the steep Sacred Valley. The trains run on tight schedules, and boarding is staggered to ensure a smooth flow, especially during peak tourist season. Watching the crew check tickets, secure luggage, and prepare the carriages, I felt a sense of anticipation. Soon, we would be gliding past mountains and rivers toward the legendary citadel itself. Our journey, a mix of comfort, history, and breathtaking scenery. As we boarded the train, the scenery unfolded like a moving painting. The valley stretched below us, a patchwork of emerald terraces, winding rivers, and distant peaks shrouded in mist. Each turn of the track revealed a more stunning vista than the last. There was something almost meditative about gliding through this landscape, imagining the centuries of history that had unfolded here, while thinking about the citadel that
Look
awaited us.
to the left of the train, you can see the famous Inca terraces. Those are the famous Inca terraces. The Incas built terraces almost everywhere. That's the way how they enlarged the area for farming. You know, the soil here in the Andes is very fertile because it's a volcanic soil, means that it's full of minerals. The only problem is that our mountains are very steep, means that if the rain is going to come, the rain is going to wash out all of those minerals. That's why the Incas decided to build terraces. Terraces almost everywhere. That's the way how they are extremely productive. They produce mainly corn, potatoes, quinoa, different kinds of grains.
We arrived in Aguas Calientes, the small town at the base of Machu Picchu, alive with travelers like ourselves. After a quick snack and a cup of coca tea, an essential before the climb, we boarded the shuttle bus that would wind up the steep, serpentine road toward the citadel. As the bus climbed, the lush cloud forest enveloped us, the peaks hiding and revealing themselves like shy giants. Then, suddenly, the first glimpse of Machu Picchu appeared, perched majestically on its mountaintop. My breath caught. When I first stepped through the gate of Machu Picchu, the world seemed to exhale. The rain had passed only minutes before, leaving behind a shimmering quiet, as if the stones themselves were still drying from centuries of secrets. I took a few steps forward, and then I stopped. The clouds were hanging low over the mountains, thick, slow, almost alive. They wrapped around the peaks like giant white serpents, drifting in and out of the ruins. It was impossible to tell where the sky ended and the earth began. For a moment, I felt like I had walked into a dream someone else had been having for thousands of years. The air was cool, damp, charged with this electric stillness. Every surface glistened: terraces, stone walls, ancient pathways. It was majestic, but also eerily quiet. So quiet that my footsteps sounded too loud, like I was trespassing on something sacred. I could feel my heartbeat pick up, not from the altitude, but from the sheer scale of what was in front of me. The city emerged slowly, as the clouds shifted, first a doorway, then a terrace, then the silhouette of the mountain behind it all. It was like watching a memory reveal itself in fragments. I felt small, humbled, and strangely emotional, not sad, not joyful, just overwhelmed by the sense that I was standing in a place that had outlived everything I know. A place built with intention, precision, and something deeper, something I could feel but not name. As I stood there, the clouds opened just enough for a soft beam of sunlight to spill across the stone. And in that moment, I understood why people travel across the world to see this, why they speak about it with a kind of reverence. It wasn't just beautiful, it was alive. And I was suddenly, unmistakably aware that I was part of its story, if only for a moment. High in the cloud-wrapped Andes of Peru stands Machu Picchu, the extraordinary citadel of the Inca Empire. Built in the mid-1400s under Emperor Pachacuti, it served as a royal retreat and ceremonial center, hidden from the world until its rediscovery in 1911. Today, it remains one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements. Your visit begins at the guardhouse, perched above the ruins. From here, Machu Picchu spreads out in sweeping terraces and stone structures surrounded by towering green peaks, its most iconic panoramic view. Descending the path, you encounter the long lines of agricultural terraces, engineered to stabilize the mountain and create fertile growing spaces for maize and potatoes. Their curved shapes blend naturally into the landscape. Entering the urban sector, narrow stone pathways lead between family homes, workshops, and storage buildings. Trapezoidal doors and windows, an Inca hallmark, gave these structures remarkable earthquake resistance. You soon arrive at the central plaza, a wide-open courtyard that once served as the heart of public life. Festivals, gatherings, and ceremonial events unfolded here, framed by the city's most important buildings. Dominating this area is the Royal Palace, a complex of finely crafted rooms that house the emperor and his entourage. Its elegant stonework and strategic placement reflect the status of Inca nobility. Climbing higher, you reach the sacred plaza. With the Temple of the Sun and the Temple of the Three Windows ritual spaces aligned with the movements of the sun and sky. Walking through Machu Picchu today, from palace to plaza to terraces, you experience a city built in perfect harmony with nature, an enduring testament to Inca vision, precision, and spiritual depth.
this environment, as you know, is a cloud forest. As you notice, those clouds come from the evaporation of the Atlantic Ocean, transpiration of Amazon of Brazil and Amazon of Peru, and these mountains work as a natural barrier. Well, first of all, why Machu Picchu is here and not on top of the other mountains? You know, one of the first things that you need to do before to understand the Inca civilization is to erase any kind of concept that you have a civilization. They never pick a place for a beauty or beauty. They always pick a place for some specific characteristic. For example, why this mountain? Because in the middle of Machu Picchu mountain, we have two natural springs. Those two natural springs could used to provide water to the whole city. Okay? Second, protection. You know, there is no way that the Incas can conquer almost the whole Andean part of South America being nice and polite. Means that probably the Incas were more brutal than the Spaniards. Means that they need protection. The river that you can see right now there is going to be at the other side because the river goes around. Means that the river worked as a natural protection, and that's why the Incas decide to build some terraces and some houses up there. They use that white to control the access to this place. And the third most important reason why they decide to build Machu Picchu here and not in the other mountain is because between Machu Picchu and Huayna Picchu, there is a big saddle, and that saddle is the material in this town. What kind of rock they use? They use mainly granite, white granite to build this. Means that the material was here to build. Those are the most important reasons why they decide to build Machu Picchu here. When Machu Picchu was discovered, you know, Hiram Bingham, a guy from Honolulu, Hawaii, came to Peru in 1908, and he started to be interested in a particular city that we call the Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba was the last refugee of the last proper king, the last proper Inca. He escaped to that place, and Hiram Bingham was looking for that place. He was following the Urubamba River, and at the back of Huayna Picchu Mountain, he found some farmers, and he asked about where can I find remains. The people that used to live there, they just pointed the mountain. Okay, on top of Machu Picchu mountain, there is a big city completely covered with vegetation. Imagine the whole city that you can see right now there, completely covered with this kind of vegetation. That's the way how Hiram Bingham rediscovered the place. Why we said that Hiram Bingham rediscovered? Because people that used to live around, they knew that on top of Machu Picchu mountain there is a big city. But in 1911, we have many Incas and pre-Inca places, mean that nobody cared about Inca remaining in the middle of nowhere in the jungle or the upper jungle of Peru. That's why we normally say that Hiram Bingham rediscovered it because he decided to rediscover this area. What was Machu Picchu? First, we don't know. There are many speculations about the reason of it. Like Hiram Bingham at the beginning mentioned that Machu Picchu was the palace of the chosen ladies of the towns and the concubines of the Incas because they found a cemetery, and the majority of the bones that they found, they analyzed with that technology, and the majority were female bones. But later, thanks that Hiram Bingham put all of those artifacts in Yale University, they reanalyzed those bones and they found that it's almost 50. Then Hiram Bingham changed the version, and Hiram Bingham said, no, Machu Picchu was the royal estate of Pachacutec. Who was Pachacutec? The most important ruler during the Inca time. He started to build or rebuild everything with a particular characteristic, imperial style. Imperial style means rock and rock without any kind of mortar. The walls are leaning, doorways, niches, and windows always have a trapezoidal shape. Because you can see that architecture here, they say, okay, this is a Pachacutec royal estate. But right now, many scholars, including some guides like me, believe that Machu Picchu is another tambo, another administrative center that the Incas need to expand the empire, to control the empire. Every 30-50 kilometers, the Incas normally build a tambo like this. Farming area, living area, and in the middle of the living area, a temple area. That's the way how the Incas expand the empire, that's the way how they control the whole empire.
Our time among the clouds comes to a gentle close. Machu Picchu, quiet, ancient, resting between mountain and sky, fades into the afternoon light as we take one last lingering look. We try to hold on to the wind's whisper, the terraces carved with centuries of intention, the calm strength of the stones. The path leads us downward, a soft farewell with every step. At the buses, the engines murmur, carrying us through the winding descent as the citadel disappears into the mist behind us. The jungle thickens, the river grows louder, and soon the colorful roofs of Aguascalientes rise to meet us. Our time among the clouds is ending. We take one last look, trying to memorize everything. The whisper of the wind, the terraces carved with patience, the calm presence of the stones that have watched centuries rise and fall. There's a moment where the whole citadel seems to pause with us, suspended in golden light. Now the path leads us downward. Each step feels like a slow farewell. The mountains stand guard as we leave, and the air grows thicker, warmer, more alive with the sounds of the forest. At the bus platform, the engines hum softly, waiting to carry us away from the sacred heights. As we descend the zigzag road, the ruins fade behind us. Below, the river grows louder. The jungle closes in, and slowly, the first scattered rooftops of Aguas Calientes appear between the trees, bright, welcoming, full of human warmth after the silence of the mountain. In the high Andes Mountains, the Inca depended on the land for survival, and one of their most important food sources was the guinea pig, or Q. These small animals were easy to raise inside family homes, required little space, and reproduced quickly, making them a reliable source of protein in a region without large domesticated animals. Kai also carried cultural and spiritual importance. It was used in ceremonies, healing rituals, and religious offerings, and was often served during festivals and celebrations. Beyond its practical value, it played a role in community life and tradition. The Inca typically roasted kai over an open fire, seasoning it with local herbs. This method, along with the tradition itself, continues throughout the Andes today, preserving a connection to Inca heritage.
Once again, the Incas looked for a very strategic location. That this area is located in a confluence of three valleys. This is the Sacred Valley. Then the other valley is going to the jungle, and the other valley is going to Bolivia, to the Titicaca Lake. They always look for those strategic places because the Incas used to have enemies, of course. And another reason why they picked that mountain is because up there we have a big lake. They use that lake to provide water to the city or to irrigate the crops, the terraces. And then the quarry is like a couple of kilometers from there. Means that the Incas always look for those kind of places with some special characteristic.
The Sacred Valley, or the Sacred Valley of the Incas, is a vast and fertile region nestled between Cusco and Machu Picchu. Once one of the most important agricultural and spiritual centers of the Inca Empire, it offered ideal conditions for farming and was believed to be a place blessed by the gods. Its mountains, or apis, were considered sacred protectors, and its rivers symbolized life and abundance. Today, the valley remains a living cultural landscape. Leaving the Sacred Valley, the road begins to climb steadily toward Cusco, winding through sweeping Andean landscapes. The Sacred Valley stretches wide and fertile, carved by the winding Urubamba River that reflects the sunlight like a ribbon of silver, while ancient Inca terraces rise along the mountainsides like monumental stairways. Small adobe villages sit peacefully along the valley, their markets alive with vivid textiles, handcrafted pottery, and fresh produce. The air is crisp, the scenery vast, and everywhere the Andes rise as silent guardians over the land. The surrounding mountains are a dramatic presence, towering, jagged peaks shaped by glaciers and softened by centuries. Alpacas and llamas graze along the slopes, and terraced fields trace the contours of the hills as you ascend. Approaching Cusco, the landscape transitions into colonial streets, lively neighborhoods, and markets buzzing with local life. The final climb toward Sacsayhuaman reveals sweeping views of Cusco's red-tiled rooftops. Then, perched on the hillside, the immense stone walls of Sacsayhuaman come into view. Colossal blocks fitted with extraordinary precision, standing as a testament to Inca mastery.
因為呢個地方咧係好重要一個地方嚟嘅。平時我喺嗰邊講，但係我驚大家走散晒，喺呢度一齊講埋先。呢度主要係睇好大好大嘅石，大過 Machu Picchu， 但係呢一度咧係 ruins 嚟嘅，即係以前到底係點樣，冇人知道。有兩種推測，一種就係 fortress 保衛嘅，因為佢呢度係嗰下面係 Cusco 成個市區，呢邊啱啱好係邊緣一個山。咁就有呢種講法，就係可能係堡壘防禦嘅，就可以整到好大。另外一個講法咧，因為佢啲石係切割得好整齊嘅，等大家留意下，好大好整齊。呢種咁樣嘅切割方式，淨係會用喺兩個地方，一個就係宗教聖地，另外一個就係嗰啲 Royal Palace。咁所以就係好重要一個位置。但係而家睇到嘅全部係荒廢晒嘅，因為西班牙人嚟到。佢哋係要破壞晒所有嗰啲宗教咁樣嘅啲地方，建立佢哋天主教嘅一個統治嘅地位。咁所以呢啲係毀壞晒。我哋睇到嘅淨係啲得 foundation， 但係淨係 foundation 都咁大嘅一啲石，而且係好穩固。中間一啲切割甚至係好密，中間係冇嘢嘅，黐埋，甚至你連刀片都放唔到入去。所以佢哋嘅技術係非常之好嘅。所有嗰啲石材全部都係附近嘅山採過嚟嘅，咁就好大好大，所以就係睇一睇佢哋係點樣。所以佢哋有我更加即係 buy 嘅一個講法，就係佢以前係一個祭祀嘅地方，係非常之大。包括我哋等下行，中間係一個好大嘅 platform， 佢哋用嚟係做慶典。包括而家佢哋嘅冬至即係我哋冬至夏天啦。佢哋就係話啱啱好太陽，佢哋係拜呢個太陽啊嘛，就喺呢度都會有今時今日嘅人喺度慶祝，喺呢度就係話做呢啲咁樣嘅慶典活動嘅，就係喺中間嗰個 platform 咁嗰度。咁我哋又先跟住一齊行啦，沿途我哋會睇到就係好多好大嘅石，唔行回頭路嘅，全部跟住行。如果你行得慢，到時留意支旗，嗰邊就係 exit， 唔會行翻嚟嘅。
That they use here is mainly limestone. The quarry, the closest quarry of this place is 3 miles from here, in that direction. The heaviest stone that we have here weighed more than 120 tons. What does mean 120 tons? Just to have an idea how heavy is 120 tons, one African elephant weighed between 7 to 8 tons. They need to transport the rock from the quarry to here. The first part of the process is to look for the natural wick of the rock. You're going to make some holes, you're going to put some wood wedges, the wood expand, and that's the way how you are going to obtain a piece of rock. Later, you're going to make like a layer of wood beams in one direction, another layer of wood beams in the opposite direction, another layer on top, the big rock on top of everything, and many people pushing and pulling. Probably more than 30 or 40,000 people work in this just project, and this project probably lasts more than 50 or 70 years. Something important to understand is that the lifespan right now in Peru is between 7 to 75 years old, but during the Inca's time, the lifespan was 44 if you are part of the elite and 33 years if you are just a commoner. Means that a project like this took more than a couple of generations. How that works? It works very well because everybody, the Incas believed that the life was divided in three stages of life: the underworld, this world, and the upper world. Means that when somebody died, everybody was mummified because they assumed that someday your vital force is going to come back. I don't know if you notice, but in different places they have something that they call the trilogy: the snake, the puma, and the condor. According to the locals, during the Inca's time, those animals can transport your vital force to one stage of life to another stage of life. That's why they keep the mummies. Of course, they mummify in a different way if you are part of the elite or if you are just a commoner. If you are just a commoner, they are going to look for a very steep mountain. They are going to make a hole there. They are going to put your mummy there. And because you are a farmer, they are going to put your foot plow close to your body. Means that once you come back to this world, you continue with your regular activities. Okay? But if you are part of the elite, means that you live in Cusco and you already have your own palace, they are going to keep your mummy in your palace, and your servants are going to feed you and are going to dress you, of course, in a representative way. When the Spaniards arrived, they found procession of mummies around Cusco city. Of course, the Spaniards sent it to burn everything. That's how it works. Yeah, what else about this? Once the people transport the rocks to this place, they place one rock, and according to the shape of this rock, they are going to carve the other ones. For years, we believe that they found these rocks here. Our archaeologists make some holes, and they found that these rocks or these walls have a foundation. And the foundation is very basic: rock, mud, and rock. After the foundation, they place the rocks and they start to carve the other ones around. The most difficult part of this business is not exactly to move the stones. The most difficult part is to interlock the rocks. Because as you notice, there is nothing between the stone and the stone. With a couple of rocks that are like this big, it's easy because you carve a little bit, try again, carve a little bit more, carve again. But with a huge stone like this, it's almost impossible. That's why some rocks have some holes at the bottom, like this one. That one. They assume that they can suspend the rock like this with some wood beams. They are going to measure the distance between this one and this one. Once they match perfectly, they are going to leave it. The only question is what kind of wood they are going to use to support the rock like this. Some other scholars believe that every rock used to have a model, and the model was made of wood or maybe copper. But where are those models? We don't know. And of course, if you believe in extraterrestrial beings, they were here helping us. That's
So how do they cut it? Because those three.
just with another rock. The technology that the Incas used to have is very simple. One rock is harder than the other one. There is a rock that we call a hematite. Yeah, hematite. Hematite contains 70 to 80% of iron in it. They use that rock to carve. To build something like this probably took more than 50, 60, 70 years. Yes, please.
I mean, make it so straight. So straight.
Yeah, well, the shapes are irregular. You can see that some of them have more than 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 14 angles. That's how it works. Of course, this is not very difficult to carve because this is limestone. And limestone is kind of soft if you compare with granite, the one that we saw in Machu Picchu. Well, the one that we have at the other angle, that one is the one that weighs 120 tons. Yes, please.
It's so heavy. How can they lift up the rock?
A lot of people. The only thing that you need is a ramp, probably. Yeah. Make your dirt, and then a lot of people pushing and pulling.
Like the pyramid. There's a PV says they do a slope.
Thank you.
They do a slope so that they can push as close as possible, and then they lift it up.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, moving a rock is not a problem. The only thing that you need is a lot of people. You need human power. The problem here is to interlock the rocks. But you can see that there is nothing between the stones. Okay, let's walk a little bit more. Approximately 120 tons each.
High above Cusco rises Sacsayhuaman, a monumental fortress and ceremonial center built by the Inca. Its zigzagging walls dominate the skyline, reflecting both engineering brilliance and symbolic meaning. The stones used here are staggering in size, some weighing over 125 tons. Each stone was individually carved to fit perfectly with its neighbors, forming interlocking walls that required no mortar and have withstood centuries of earthquakes. Quarrying and cutting. Workers began at quarries several kilometers away. Natural fractures in limestone and andesite were exploited, then split using stone hammers, wooden wedges, and controlled fire. Water poured over heated stone caused it to crack further, allowing enormous blocks to be freed. Shaping. Each stone was painstakingly carved using hammerstones and abrasive techniques. Surfaces were polished, edges trimmed, and blocks shaped to interlock perfectly, creating a structure both strong and visually harmonious. Transporting the stones. Without wheels or draft animals strong enough to carry these stones, the Inca relied on human labor, moving blocks along earthen ramps using ropes of ichu grass and wooden rollers. Teams coordinated through rhythmic chants to maneuver these massive stones up the hillside. Assembly. Once on site, stones were repeatedly lowered, marked with pigments to identify high pressure points, lifted, shaved, and positioned until perfectly interlocked. The wall's zigzag pattern not only strengthened the structure, but symbolized the teeth of the sacred puma, representing Cusco itself. Sacsayhuaman stands as a testament to Inca engineering, spiritual devotion, and collective ingenuity. Each stone tells a story of precision, effort, and reverence, making it one of the most extraordinary constructions in human history.
Peru, you can see people with almost the same Mongolian features, which is very similar. You know, we don't really like to call Indians because that is because they are not Indian. You know, don't use that word to nobody that live here. Native, native people, because you know the Spaniards used to call us Indios. Indians.
And you don't like that term.
Nobody like here in South America. It's very insulting.
In India.
Well, if you are from India, of course you are Indio, but you are from South America, means that you are an Andean person.
No, I don't.
Welcome to Cusco, Peru, the ancient capital of the Inca Empire, perched high in the Andes at 3,300 meters. Cusco is a city where history, culture, and architecture intertwine, revealing centuries of human ingenuity. Our journey begins along the cobblestone streets that wind through the city, revealing Inca walls built with stones carved to fit perfectly together without mortar. These walls have withstood centuries of earthquakes, a testament to Inca engineering mastery. We pass colorful markets overflowing with Andean textiles, pottery, and fresh produce, while artisans in San Blas, the Bohemian district, craft traditional woodwork and jewelry. The narrow streets, steep steps, and charming balconies create a living picture of Cusco's rich culture. Next, we arrive at the heart of Cusco, the Plaza de Armas, the ceremonial and social center of the city. The Plaza de Armas is the beating heart of Cusco. Once the central square of the Inca Empire, it hosted royal ceremonies, religious festivals, and public gatherings. Today, it is surrounded by majestic colonial architecture. Dominating the Plaza de Armas, the Cathedral of Cusco is a masterpiece carved from stone. Its walls are built from massive blocks, quarried from nearby Sacsayhuaman, fitted with Incan precision to create strength and harmony. Even the arches, columns, and intricate carvings are sculpted from the same stone, blending Renaissance elegance with subtle indigenous motifs. Every block tells a story, turning cold rock into a living testament of history, craftsmanship, and cultural fusion. The Church of La Compañía de Jesús in Cusco stands as a monumental example of Baroque stone architecture. Its facade, constructed from massive volcanic stones, immediately conveys strength, solidity, and grandeur. 4 imposing columns rise along the front, supporting an elaborately decorated entablature, while 4 openings, 2 grand entrances, and 2 upper windows create balance and rhythm across the facade. From here, we continue to one of Cusco's most sacred sites, Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun, to explore its magnificent interior. The Temple of the Sun, or Coricancha, is located in the heart of Cusco, once the capital of the Inca Empire. Nestled among the bustling streets and colonial buildings of the city, it stands as a striking reminder of Cusco's layered history. Originally the most sacred Inca temple, dedicated to Inti, the sun god, its walls were once covered in sheets of gold that reflected the sun's light. After the Spanish conquest, much of the temple was incorporated into the Church of Santo Domingo, yet its grandeur remains. Inside, the ceilings and walls are adorned with vibrant colonial-era paintings. These artworks depict saints, angels, and biblical scenes, blending European religious themes with subtle Inca symbolism.
Well, the Spaniards arrived in 1533 to Cusco and they looked for places to build these Catholic churches. They picked this place. And the Spaniards covered these beautiful walls with plaster and paint. Thanks to the last earthquake that happened in 1950, we discovered these beautiful Inca walls, and then the government started to clean it and opened this museum. This is Coricancha. Coricancha was a religious complex. What does mean a religious complex? It means that there is one building, 2 buildings, probably we have another one there, and another one here, another one there, another one there, and the Temple of the Sun was over there. It means that they used to have a lot of rooms, and every room was built in honor to one specific god.
The paintings transform the interior into a vivid tapestry of faith and culture, creating a space where history, devotion, and artistry come together in breathtaking harmony. Inside the Coricancha, the Inca walls stand as some of the finest examples of stonework in the ancient world. These walls are made of perfectly cut and polished andesite blocks, fitted together with such precision that not even a sheet of paper can slip between them. Their slight inward incline and seamless joints demonstrate the Inca mastery of engineering, designed to withstand centuries of earthquakes without collapsing. The stones vary in size, some towering several feet high, yet each is shaped with absolute intention, forming smooth surfaces and graceful curves. The walls once supported rooms dedicated to different deities, their interiors illuminated by the golden reflections of sacred ornaments that once covered the stone. Today, the beauty of the Inca walls speaks for itself, silent, flawless, and enduring, revealing the extraordinary skill, intelligence, and spiritual devotion of the people who built them. Nestled along the Vilcanota River in Peru's Sacred Valley, Aranjuez Sacred Valley Hotel and Wellness is more than just a hotel. It's a journey into history and tranquility. The property was originally a 17th century colonial hacienda built by Spanish landowners, and its roots are visible in every stone, archway, and carved wooden door. Over the centuries, it has been carefully restored, transforming the historic estate into a luxurious retreat while preserving its timeless charm. The grounds are expansive and breathtaking. Manicured gardens weave between ancient stone walls, dotted with fountains, reflecting pools, and native flora. Paths lined with cobblestones guide you from the main building to smaller colonial-style villas, each designed to feel like a private residence. These buildings house the guest rooms, offering balconies or terraces that open onto views of the river, mountains, or serene gardens. Some rooms feature warm wood interiors, traditional Andean textiles, and even oxygenation systems to make adjusting to the high altitude easier. The central courtyard is the heart of the hotel, where sunlight spills onto patios surrounded by flowering trees, koi ponds, and water features, creating a sense of calm and harmony. Scattered across the property are smaller historic structures, including a restored chapel and colonial halls, each echoing the hacienda's original architecture while integrating modern comforts. Walking the grounds, you feel the layers of history from the colonial era to the present, all while being cocooned in the natural beauty of the Sacred Valley. It's the perfect base for exploring nearby Inca ruins, Ollantaytambo, or Machu Picchu. And at the end of the day, Aranjuez offers a serene retreat where the mountains, river, and centuries of history wrap you in quiet luxury.
but this is not aggressive, so it is fine. Okay? Yes, it's a peaceful one. friends, if you want to do a protest in Lima downtown, we have to go to the city hall and to book a time to do that. Okay? It's a right to do that. Okay? But to do vandalism is not permitted. For that reason, let's see, the police officers are around all the people. Okay? So, my friends, but protest in the main plaza of Lima is prohibited. Remember that this is not the main plaza. This plaza was made to celebrate the first centenary of our independence. Do you remember the Libertador from Argentina, the first president of Argentina, Don Jose de San Martin? So can you see in the middle of the plaza, the square, there is a monument in honor to this Libertador. But my friends, let's take a look to the right. Can you see this building?
Yes.
The Gran Hotel Bolivar. This was the first 5-star hotel in Lima. Ava Gardner, Walt Disney, the Rolling Stones, for example, sleep in this hotel. But let's see the hotel. It's empty. It was abandoned. Okay? There is a tradition for locals to come to Lima downtown and to drink a pisco sour in the bar. So, what is working now in the hotel? Just the bar. Did you drink pisco sour? Not yet? No? Really? Oh, the one. In Chile. No. You didn't drink the pisco sour. The pisco sour, the pisco is from Peru, okay? Do you know where is Pisco? Pisco is a city, okay? Pisco is in the south of Lima, 215 kilometers in the south, okay? Pisco exists before the Spanish arrival, but the Spanish conquistadors introduced, for example, grapes to the south of Peru. In that area, the temperature is dry, okay, and also is hot. So grapes are so sweet. Our wine, for example, is sweet. So the Spanish conquistadors disliked that. For that reason, they decided to create a kind of distillation of grapes, okay? Sugar became alcohol, so pisco has 45% of alcohol. All the people wanted that distillation from pisco, from that port of Pisco, and pisco became famous.
Lima's historic balconies were built to suit the mild coastal climate, allow people to observe street life and religious events privately, and reduce earthquake risk by using lightweight carved wood. Over time, they became symbols of wealth and identity, blending Spanish, Moorish, and local traditions that are now protected as part of the city's heritage. The Basilica Cathedral of Lima, located on the Plaza Mayor, was founded in 1535. At the same time, the city was established by Francisco Pizarro, making their histories inseparable. The cathedral reflects centuries of rebuilding after earthquakes, and today houses Pizarro's tomb, linking Peru's most important church directly to the controversial founder of Lima and the beginning of Spanish rule. The Tapadas Limeñas sculptures near Lima's Plaza Mayor honor the veiled women of colonial Lima, who covered themselves from the 16th to mid-19th century, revealing only one eye. These modern installations, created as part of cultural and urban revival projects, celebrate the elegance, mystery, and quiet defiance of these women. Placed throughout the historic center, the sculptures bring to life a unique symbol of Lima's identity and the enduring legacy of the Tapadas Limeñas. Lima is a city defined by its edge, where land rises in towering cliffs and meets the vast, unbroken Pacific Ocean. For miles, these dramatic cliffs form a natural stage above the sea. Green parks and winding promenades trace their rim, while waves crash relentlessly against the rocks far below. The ocean is ever present, carried on the wind, reflected in the light, and woven into daily life. Along the Malecon, the city moves in rhythm with the coast. Runners and cyclists follow curved paths, families pause at lookout points, and paragliders lift into the sky, floating between cliff and cloud. During the day, we visited El Beso, the iconic sculpture of an embracing couple standing proudly along the cliffside, bathed in sunlight and framed by the open sky and ocean beyond. It captured a feeling of romance, freedom, and Lima's creative spirit, a perfect moment to pause, reflect, and take in the view. As evening approached, the city revealed another side of its beauty. A long, elegant pier stretches over the water, leading to La Rosa Nautica, a restaurant suspended above the Pacific. Along Lima's dramatic Costa Verde, a narrow pier stretches boldly into the Pacific, and at its far end stands La Rosa Nautica, the city's iconic over-the-water restaurant. Built in 1983, this Victorian-inspired structure transformed a rugged stretch of coastline into one of Lima's most recognized landmarks. Sitting on wooden pilings anchored into the surf, the restaurant's pavilions seem to hover just above the waves, giving guests the rare feeling of dining directly at sea level. Its design is instantly memorable. Ornate rooflines, wraparound windows, breezy terraces, and a long boardwalk that guides you from the land out over the ocean. During high tide, the waves crash dramatically beneath the floors, adding a natural soundtrack to every meal. La Rosa Nautica quickly became famous for two things: its elegant setting above the Pacific and its refined seafood-focused cuisine that showcases the best of Peruvian coastal flavors. Locals celebrate milestones here. Travelers come for the views, and sunset diners claim it's one of the most atmospheric tables in the city. Here, we gathered for a farewell dinner, the perfect close to 19 unforgettable days, exploring 4 South American countries with go-go tours. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in golds, oranges, and deep purples, waves rolled gently beneath us. Surrounded by the ocean and the cliffs of Lima, we shared our last meal together, celebrating the journeys we had taken, the friendships formed, and the memories made along the way. From the daytime stroll past El Beso to the sunset dinner above the waves, Lima offered a final chapter that was dramatic, vibrant, and unforgettable. A city where history, art, and the Pacific meet, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who visits, and a perfect ending to a truly extraordinary South American adventure.